The night everything changed for me began with the kind of rain that makes a city look bruised. Dark clouds hung low over Cleveland, and the streets shimmered with reflections of neon signs and passing cars. I remember standing outside O'Malley's bar, breath fogging in the cold air, when I saw Marcus and my coworker, my sometimes friend, and the man everyone thought always had it together, stumble out into the night like he was trying to outrun something only he could see. I didn't plan on being his rescuer. I didn't even like him much. But when he collapsed against the brick wall, mumbling apologies to no one, something inside me shifted. I couldn't leave him there. And I had no idea that one small act of kindness would lead me into a moment I'd carry with me forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of doing the right thing even when no one is watching, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe right now. It truly helps the channel grow. I walked toward him slowly, reminding myself that I barely knew this man beyond office meetings and exchanged nods in the hallway. He was always the first to arrive, crisp shirt ironed, hair neat, voice steady. Seeing him like this, broken, slumped, vulnerable, was unsettling. I helped him to his feet, draping his arm over my shoulder as he leaned heavily against me. His words slurred into apologies about not wanting to be that guy, about how he didn't mean for anyone to see him like this. I told him it was fine, that we all have bad nights. But the heaviness in his breathing told me this wasn't just a bad night. This was something deeper. As I got him into my car, he broke into a quiet, choking sob. It startled me. Men like Marcus didn't cry, not openly. They carried the world on their shoulders until it crushed them silently. He mumbled something about losing himself, about not being enough. I didn't pry. The drive through the rain-soaked streets felt long, the windshield wipers brushing away the storm as if erasing the night's pain one swipe at a time. His home was in a quiet residential neighborhood, tall trees, trimmed lawns, warm porch lights. A place that looked peaceful, stable. A place that didn't match the storm inside him. When I pulled into his driveway, his front door swung open before I even had the chance to ring the bell. Rebecca, his wife, stood there with worry carved into her face. She wasn't angry, like I expected. She wasn't embarrassed or disappointed. She just looked relieved. Like she'd prayed for him to make it home safely and I had delivered that prayer to her doorstep. Helping him inside felt like guiding a wounded soldier back from the battlefield. His feet dragged, his head hung low, and Rebecca whispered his name with such tenderness that it made my chest tighten. As we settled him onto the couch, she placed a blanket over him and gently brushed his hair from his forehead. I stepped back, feeling like an intruder in a moment that wasn't mine. But then she turned to me. Her eyes glistened with a mix of exhaustion and gratitude, and before I could say anything, she wrapped her arms around me. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't inappropriate. It was the embrace of someone who'd been holding her breath far too long and finally exhaled. She thanked me, not just with polite words, but with a depth that felt like it came from her soul. She told me I didn't understand what tonight meant for him, for them, for their small family trying to survive battles no one saw. She said that if I hadn't stepped in, the night might have ended much differently. Her voice trembled as she admitted that she had been terrified of losing the man she loved, to grief, to stress, to loneliness he didn't know how to express. I found myself standing in their warm living room, rain dripping from my jacket onto their hardwood floor, feeling as though I'd accidentally walked into someone's private world. She offered me tea, and I accepted, mostly because she needed someone to sit with, someone who wasn't drowning like she was. As we drank quietly, she shared pieces of the truth I hadn't expected. Marcus had been struggling for months, ever since his father passed away. He'd been trying so hard to stay strong, to be the reliable one at work, at home, everywhere. But grief is a heavy thing. It sneaks into the cracks of even the strongest people. Listening to her, I realized how easy it is to misjudge someone standing right next to you every day. At the office, people rolled their eyes at his seriousness or his perfectionism, never guessing he was using it as armor to keep from falling apart. Rebecca's voice softened when she spoke about him, about the man he used to be, about how she believed he could become him again if anyone showed him a little grace. I remembered how lonely I had felt just a few months earlier when my own life was crumbling after my breakup. No one knew. I'd show up to work, smile mechanically, get through the day, and go home to silence. Pain hides well behind practiced smiles. I understood him more than I expected. Rebecca placed her tea down, her hands trembling slightly from the emotional weight she carried. She told me she was grateful not just for bringing him home, but for being someone who didn't ignore the mess, someone who chose compassion over convenience. It struck me deeply. I wasn't used to being thanked that way, with such sincerity it almost felt like a blessing. Before I left, she walked me to the door. Rain still tapped gently against the porch roof. She looked at me with eyes that held both kindness and a plea. Please don't forget him. Please don't give up on him. I promised her I wouldn't, and I meant it. Over the next few weeks, something unexpected happened. Marcus changed. Not in a dramatic, movie-like transformation, but in small, deliberate steps. He thanked me quietly one morning at work, his voice steady but soft. We started having lunch together, where he talked not about his pain at first, but about life, faith, baseball, the little things that make a person feel seen. Slowly, he began opening up. I listened. Sometimes that's all people need. Someone to sit with them in their darkness until they can see the light again. Rebecca later told me that night had been a turning point for him, a bottom he needed to hit before he finally reached for help. Therapy, conversations, vulnerability, all things he once avoided, became doors he was now willing to walk through. And every time she spoke about it, she always said the same thing: you showed him that even a stranger can care. That kindness still exists. That he was worth saving. It humbled me. It changed me. It made me realize how easy it is to walk past someone else's storm simply because it isn't raining on you. But that night taught me that sometimes the simplest act, helping someone stand when they've fallen, can ripple into something bigger than you ever imagined. Months passed, and the three of us formed an unlikely bond. Dinners, game nights, long talks, they welcomed me into their home like family. And every time I stepped inside, I remembered that rainy night, the weight of Marcus leaning on me, the rawness in Rebecca's voice, the moment I realized that giving someone a little compassion can change the direction of an entire life. What stayed with me most wasn't the gratitude or the connection that followed. It was the lesson. We underestimate the impact we can have on others. We forget that people who seem strong can be fighting unseen battles. We forget that sometimes, we are placed in someone's path for a reason. That night, I didn't just drop a drunk coworker home. I walked into a story of pain, hope, and healing. And it changed me in ways I still carry. If this story moved you, if it made you believe a little more in compassion and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly supports the channel and helps me share more stories like this. Before I end the story, I have one special request. Comment below with a heart if kindness has ever changed your life.